computerized. From the Magic City, the sun and fun capital of the world, Miami, Florida, through the incredible speed of the NCR 315 computer, Warner Productions proudly presents the all-time heavyweight championship tournament. Hi, everybody. This is Murray Warner at the Miami Convention Hall once again for the 14th fight of the all-time heavyweight tournament. Tonight, the last semifinal, featuring the Boilermaker, J Jeffries, and the Brockton blockbuster, Rocky Marciano. The all-time heavyweight tournament is made possible through the cooperation of the City of Miami, Mr. Nat Fleischer, publisher of Ring Magazine, Chris and Angelo Dundee, and Mr. Hank Kaplan, former president of the World Boxing Historians Association. We'll be back in a moment with Guy LeBeau and the details and some comments about tonight's great fight. Now, back at Miami Convention Hall once again, and here's Guy LeBeau.
Thank you very much, Maury Warner. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. This is the fight that decides the last of our finalists, and this is a match that's certain to be filled with blood, action, and murderous punching. Nobody came tonight expecting to see scientific boxing, that's for sure.
Two of the great punchers, two of the great punch takers.
With the winner going into next week's championship bout against Jack Dempsey, the Manasseh Mauler.
This match has all the classic ingredients. Little man versus big man. Modern fighter versus old timer. Rocky Marciano never lost a professional fight. J Jeffries lost just one, and that one was questionable, about which came 7 years after his retirement.
The Boilermaker is a great one, make no mistake about that. He had to be to get into this tournament semifinals, among other things. He knocked out Joe Walcott in the first round of the all-time heavyweight tourney.
After just 12 professional fights, Jeffries met Bob Fitzsimmons for the championship in 1899. He beat Ruby Bob on an 11th round knockout at age 24, and that's the Boilermaker's age for this tournament. He's in his prime. After beating Fitzsimmons, Big Jeff won a 25-round decision from Tom Shockey, then knocked out Jim Corbett in 23 rounds. Before he quit, he stopped Fitzsimmons again and knocked out Corbett again. And there's no question that he dominated the division of his day.
Murray, here's Hank Kaplan of the Boxing Historians Association. Hank, what are your ideas on tonight's match?
Jeffries is the kind of a guy who can take an awful lot of punishment and come on in the later rounds and knock you dead with a couple of punches, well-placed punches. Rocky Marciano has one of the best chins of all time. And not only that, but he has one of the great sustained attacks in the heavyweight division. Also, a real good two-fisted puncher. I believe that Rocky Marciano will cut up Jeffries. He'll have too much speed for him, although Jeffries is a fast man on his own. I believe that Rocky will throw too many punches for Jeffries, who has a habit of laying back occasionally. I believe that Rocky will be too much for Jeffries on the inside. And after one of the most brutal matches, one in which both fighters may see the canvas, and after much blood, I believe that Rocky Marciano will emerge the victor after 15 rounds. I believe that this fight will go the limit as contrary to expectations.
Marciano's won 2 in this tournament, and his last victory was a big one against rough, hard-hitting Max Baer. Rocky went into pro boxing in 1947 and went through 16 straight knockouts before anybody could go the distance with him. Rocky jumped into the national headlines in 1951 with knockouts over Rex Lane, Freddie Bashore, and the great Joe Louis. Then he knocked out Lee Savold and Harry Kid Matthews on the way to his appointment with Joe Walcott for the title. In one of the great fights of all time, Marciano, bleeding and looking thoroughly beaten, caught up with Walcott in the 13th round and knocked him out. 3 years later, after beating top-notchers like Archie Moore and Ezra Charles, Marciano retired undefeated, the only heavyweight champion to end his career without a single defeat on his record.
You know, Murray, Big J Jeffries might have done that, but he couldn't resist the temptation to fight just one more time. The Boilermaker had never lost in 22 fights when he retired in 1904. He even refereed the bout between the two men who were fighting for the right to claim his title. Now, after little Tommy Burns won that title, and Jack Johnson took it away from him, the Boilermaker came back in 1910 to fight Johnson, and he lost on a 15-round KO in Reno. But no man could be the fighter he was after a 6-year retirement. Let's ask Jess Willard about that, and we'll see.
Jim Jeffries, a great big rugged fellow and a hard fellow to beat. Very tough man. I mean, when he was in his prime. Of course, when he fought Johnson, he was gone. He was all out and was sick man. Before he went into the ring, he was sick. And he tried to get in condition, but his whole system wouldn't stand up under it. He broke down. But they threw him in there anyway because they had a big crowd and a lot of publicity on it, and they went through with it anyway.
Jeff had 16 knockouts in his 23 fights, in which he had his opponents on the floor 22 times. He's 6'2.5", weighs 225 pounds, with a reach of 76.5 inches, which gives him quite a physical advantage on Marciano, who's 5'10.5" and 184 pounds, with a reach of 68 inches. Rocky, by the way, knocked out 43 of his 49 opponents and was down just twice in his life. He's 29 years old for tonight's fight. Jeffries is 24.
Here's the guy I've got in tow, Jack Sharkey, and I've been talking to him about the winner of tonight's fight and whether he'll have to be ready for anything.
Now, if Marciano and Jeffries fought, I would want to witness that fight. Well, it would be just like two bulls. Be a glory mess, because they say they were both just terrific bulls fighting, knocking each other's brains out. And believe me, they could punch.
We'll be back in just 1 minute with some more comments on tonight's fight.
A chat with Joe Louis brought out some very interesting information about the chance of going 15 hard rounds with a man of Jeffrey's size and punching ability when you consider Marciano's smaller size.
I know that Marciano is a good puncher, in the condition. He's a good condition fighter. He loves to train. He loves to stay in good condition. Look at what Biff Walcott, See, for 18-round, Walcott beat him real good. In the first 14 round, he hit him with one punch, he knocked him flat and knocked him dead with one punch. See how dangerous he was. He kept danger in the first 15th round, same as in the first round.
We questioned Rocky Marciano, who was trying to reach the finals of the all-time heavyweight tournament. The last match with Jack Dempsey. But he's got to whip Jim Jeffries here tonight at Miami Convention Hall. Here's what he said about this fight.
Well, of course, Jim Jeffries was an all-around fighter. He was not only big and strong and rough and tough and had all of the good fighting abilities, but he was fast for a big man. I guess he'd have been a real problem, but I somehow feel that I could handle that type of a man, especially a man that was just big and tough and strong and was willing to fight. I just have done so well against opponents that have fought it out with me that I feel that here was my real biggest asset, was the fact that if a man opened up with me and it was blow for blow and I had him up against the ropes, that I usually come out the best, and that's why I feel I could handle that type of a man better.
Do you think you could knock him out?
Well, of course, we don't know how tough he really was in his prime, and I imagine he was exceptionally tough. You never really know if you can knock out a man, We always believed in boxing that if a man didn't want to get knocked out, you almost couldn't knock him out. I believed that I couldn't be knocked out, and I think this helped me in my positive thinking, and although I was hurt on a number of occasions, I never ever believed that I would be knocked out. So it's hard to say if you could knock out a guy. I have never ever, in my pre-fight talks, have ever said that I would knock out an opponent.
One thing's sure, you keep coming in.
No, well, I couldn't fight going backwards. I've never learned how to fight going backwards. I never had the arms for it. I never had the reach for it. I never had the style for it. My strength, again, was to come in and bowl and move and go forward. My head on my opponent's shoulder, being able to step in on balance and punch. When I was going away on a few occasions, which I had to, I lost that part of the fight. When I broke away from a clinch, it was strictly 1 half step back and then 2 steps in. I just have never, ever even practiced going backwards, and this is why I had to fight going in. I think that if someone could have stopped my forward movement, they'd have had a big advantage.
In just 1 minute, we'll be back with more comments on tonight's fight.
Now let's talk a little bit more about this fight. I think this is going to be a fight without much defense. Rocky throwing his looping lefts and rights to Jeffries' gigantic frame, wearing him down perhaps as the fight goes along, but probably walking through his own blood to do so. Rocky was a top-class attacker, but he did not counterpunch or attempt to play defense. This ain't like football. Rocky never gives you the ball, his trainer Charlie Goldman used to say. Jeff the Big Boilermaker was much the same kind of battler, going all over the place, not fooling with counterpunches or defense.
Here's Jack Kearns, Jr., the son of Jack Dempsey's manager, who's naturally very interested in who's going to fight the Manassas Mauler in the finals of this tournament.
Well, Jeffries was somewhat the complete, well-rounded fighter. He could do a little bit of everything well. And this is the type of fighter that would give Rocky Marciano a lot of trouble also. Rocky will have trouble, as I say trouble. He would have trouble with any fighter that can box and move, and that can take a little bit of a punch and stay in there with him. I think he would wear Jeffries down eventually. Conditioning would be the factor in this fight. I think one has the tools to offset the other in both respects, but I think that Rocky's conditioning would be the factor in this.
Maury, here's what Nat Fleischer thinks when you ask him to evaluate Marciano.
Rocky Marciano was another one of the school that possessed tremendous hitting power and nothing more. He was a man who had a lot of speed. He would tear into an opponent. He would toss punches from all angles, but could be hit very, very readily. And a real highly clever fighter who also possessed a good punch would have whipped him.
And we asked Nat about Jim Jeffries.
Jim Jeffries is one of the toughest men in the heavyweight division. Jeffries possessed a tremendous wallop. He could hit as hard as anybody of the recent years. And in hitting power, I'd stack him up against Dempsey or Lewis or Marciano. But in ring cleverness, he lacked what Lewis lacked, and he lacked what Tunney lacked. He was not a man that possessed any science, but he was of the tear-in style who would depend wholly on his hitting power in order to win a fight.
Now, both fighters are in the ring, and ring announcer Paul Berman is stepping toward the middle of the ring. Let's go up and get the opening announcement.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is our main event. 15 rounds, the second semifinal of the all-time heavyweight tournament. Scoring is on the 10-point plus system. The mandatory 8-count trophy defense and the 3-knockdown rule has been waived. Timekeeper, William Benz. Counting for the knockdowns on the bell, Eric Blair. Judges, Erwin Burson, Jerome Ross, and Pat O'Brien. Ring physician, Dr. Lincoln Allen. Matchmaker, Chris Dundee. Referee, Rudy Goldstein. Introducing, in this corner, wearing white trunks, weighing 225 pounds, from Carroll, Ohio, former heavyweight champion of the world, the Boilermaker, Jim Jeffries. And in this corner, wearing black trunks, weighing 184 pounds, from Brockton, Massachusetts, undefeated heavyweight champion of the world, the Brockton blockbuster, Rocky Marciano.
Now, as Ruby Goldstein calls the fighters to the center of the ring for their instructions, we'll be back in just a minute for the first round. Mother, if you've attended this position, this is no place to be tonight. These are two of the hardest hitters, the toughest men to ever face each other. There's the bell, and here's Guy.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Jim Jeffries and Rocky Marciano, and we're just one fight away from what this tournament has been all about. The heavyweight class through all of its fine ring generals and boxers, has crystallized itself into what indeed it is all about. And tonight these semifinalists, Jeffries and Marciano, touching gloves, boast victories over speed and skill. Marciano, 5 feet 10 inches. Jim Jeffries, 6 feet 2 1/2. I don't remember when Marciano ever gave so much height away, and here we go. Marciano and Jeffries circling in the center of the ring. Marciano has the left hand partially extended, the right hand cocked a little lower than usual, and Jeffries, against the smaller man here, does not have his left as high as he carried it against long Cassius Clay. Jeffries misses the left over the head of Marciano. Marciano doesn't retreat, just stays his ground. Not much movement on the part of either ex-champion. Marciano appears just a smaller version of Jim Jeffries. That's what Nat Fleischer of Ring thinks. Marciano menaces the left. Jeffries' right arm comes smartly into guard. But Marciano shoots the left hand anyway, and it lands partially on the chest, partially on the arms of Jeffries. Now Big Jim circles to his left. Marciano hooks a left to the chin of Jeffries. Jeffries is crouched a bit low, and Jim comes back to the action at once. But Marciano drives a good right to the body underneath the guard of Jeffries, and Jeffries fires a powerful left hand to the body, his first good blow of the round and fight. And now Marciano clips him with another left to the chin, moves off to the left. Jeffries stays in the crouch. Jeffries probably has not fought any man as short as Marciano. Jeffries has been tagged a couple of times while in the act of hitting here. Both men in firing range now, and Marciano, evidently to get some idea of the personal strength of Jeffries, rushes in, drives a right and left to the body of Big Jim. Jeffries' hands flail at Marciano's back, and finally they tie each other up. Referee Ruby Goldstein coming out to the center of the ring to separate them. I see many celebrities here at this great semifinal contest tonight. There's Nat Fleischer, Nat Lubbe, Dan Daniels of Ring Magazine staff. Now Marciano and Jeffries sparring again. Marciano rushing in with the left and right to the body. He tries to tie Jeffries up. However, Big Jim meets him with a good, solid left to the body and another one as he was coming in. And again, they're broken up in the center of the ring. They were in a tight clinch. They are, thus early, already hitting very hard. Now they're separated. Marciano on the green light again comes flying in. This time, a straight right to the mouth lands for Rocky, but Jeffries again wings it with hard left and right to the body. Marciano wrenches free as he comes under Jeffries' arms, drives a good left to the body, a straight right to the face, and ducks under Jeffries' strong attempt to belt with a right. There's the bell.
Round one fairly even. Both Jeffries and Rocky seem to be feeling each other out, looking for vulnerable spots and testing the punching power. Here's Guy LeBeau.
Jim Jeffries and Rocky Marciano with one more plateau to attain to come in line for the crown of the all-time heavyweight champion and the $10,000 championship belt. At ring center, Marciano begins to move a little bit more. I don't think he's that much faster than Jeffries, but he may be a little more agile. Marciano now bobbing and weaving really low to the ground. Jeffries puts a solid left jab to the mouth of Marciano with very good force. Marciano thrown off his rhythm. Marciano takes a step back, recovers, is back bobbing and weaving. Jeffries obliges him again. Here's Jeffries stinging the rock with another left jab and hard again. But Marciano rushes in. Marciano wraps a vicious left to the body, a right under the heart. Jeffries is pushed back on his heels a couple of steps, and they tie each other up. Marciano's pattern here is abundantly clear, and of course Jim will ultimately solve it. His idea is to hit and tie Jeffries up, or hit and get inside and devalue Jim's large size and long range. Marciano has been scoring well that way, and until Jim does find the answer, Marciano is marking points. Referee Ruby Goldstein has them apart there. Over to my left. On the green light, Marciano springs up and down from the hips. Sometimes he's down so low, he looks like he's doing that famous Russian dance, the name of which I can't remember. But he trained that way. He can haunch on his hips all night long. Here's Jeffries in a good deep crouch. They say he was the first of all of the great fighters to innovate this change from the stand-up stance. Jeffries weaves his hand in front of Marciano's face. Marciano looks like he'll take off any moment again. Marciano fires a straight right to the mouth of Jeffries, but in having to rise with a blow, Jim's got his target in range. There's the big man booming, a strong left to the ribs, a hard right under the heart, another good left to the body by Jeffries. and Marciano and Jeffries move into a welcome clinch. But I see now, Jeffries is bleeding at the mouth. I haven't noticed it before. Jeffries is bleeding at the mouth, and apparently Marciano has drawn first blood. Now out at the center of the ring again, Ruby Goldstein pushes the gold button. These two men, one large, Jim Jeffries, one small, Rocky Marciano, but with great strength and a giant warehouse of power each, have got now to pick their spots, and they're doing just that. Here they are again, circling in the center of the ring. A really Mutt and Jeff situation. Marciano back to his pattern. Marciano hooks a swift left to the mouth, pushes in at Jeffries, but this time, Big Jim meets him coming in with a good straight right to the body, and they tie each other up again. This could be the first glimpse of Jeffries' fine adjustment ability. He knew Marciano was coming in range once Rocky had launched the left hand, and Big Jim stood there waiting at the gate. Rocky Marciano and Jim Jeffries, Ruby Goldstein moves them back to the center of the ring, and they go once more. Here is Jeffries, and there's the bell.
Things pretty well even at this point, with the only sign of injury, that cut mouth of Jeffries, under control at this time, and here's Guy Lavoie.
Righto, Marciano streams across the ring, plows a left to the body, and immediately goes into a clinch with Big Jim Jeffries. Apparently, Marciano wants to hip and hold fast and tight. That's one way to outpunch Jim. Jeffries is the first heavyweight to retire undefeated. Marciano, the other heavyweight to retire without a single loss in his record. The only loss on Jim's scorecard was in his belated comeback against Jack Johnson. Out at ring center, Marciano and Jeffries circling. Jeffries feints with his left hand. Jim opens fire with a left to the body. Marciano counters with a light left and right to the head. Jeffries is wild with a right over the head. They're 2 steps apart. Jeffries moves a little closer, misses a flicking left to Marciano, who goes back and goes into the bob and weave. And the difference in sizes, ladies and gentlemen, is awesome. With Jeffries now standing at full stance, Marciano in the lowest possible crouch. One man knows the other has to come down to hit. The other knows the fellow must come up. Here's Marciano firing up powerful left to the body. Jeffries is bothered by that one. But on Marciano's typical in-rush, Jeffries pops a left and right to the body of the Rock. And Marciano charges Jeffries back a step. But Jeffries pumps 2 more rights to the ribs, and they go into a clinch. Either these men have not struck yet with their full, well-vaunted power, or they've not felt the impact with as much regret as I have seen some of their opponents feel. It's hard to say, but referee Ruby Goldstein now pries them apart. Here's Marciano charging at Jeffries. Jeffries has a chance to get set. Here's Jim driving a straight right to the mouth and scores beautifully. And look at this. Look at this. Marciano's nose is bleeding. There goes the beak. And he's going to be worried about that. Bayer bashed it pretty badly in the quarterfinal. That led to this fight tonight. Now Jeffries extremely fast. Jeffries fires a solid hook to the head. Marciano's short with a left hook. Jeffries keeps lunging after him with the left hand as he did in an earlier fight in this tourney. Marciano goes into a clinch. Jeffries jams him with a hard left to the ribcage. I don't think Marciano has ever taken a lot of body punishment. Jeffries, on the other hand, has fought some of the greatest body punishers in the business. And let me remind you about Bob Fitzsimmons, if you will. They are in a clinch. I am watching Marciano's nose. It is bleeding, but not that badly. It is bleeding, but not that badly. This promises to be a sensational fight. The final's still to come. Referee Ruby Goldstein breaks them in the center of the ring, and on the break, Marciano on the move. Marciano whips 2 hooks to the head, flying off his feet to do so with great force. And Jeffries, with perfect timing, his whole body behind it, returns a murderous left hook to the chin of Marciano, and Marciano certainly gets as good as he gives. Jeffries and Rocky circling again, and there's the bell.
Charlie Goldman worked frantically to stop the bleeding of Rocky's vulnerable nose in the between rounds minute, apparently successfully. There's the bell, here's Guy.
Okay, Murray, Rocky has differences here in the method he used to fight Max Baer. The body attack then was more determined and planned. Jeffries, by the way, could not really destroy Clay. He came out of a close one to this fight. This battle seems very close, too. Jeffries here in his classic stance. Rocky did not start quickly this round. Jeffries is standing a bit taller, the left hand crooked at the elbow, rather low. Rocky is dug into his shoulder. Rocky feints the left hand, circling to his right. Rocky feints again. Jeffries is non-committal. Off to the side now, a couple of steps. Rocky pushing that left out and now follows through to the left and right to the midsection of Jeffries and another left hand. Jeffries misses a left over the head. Jeffries' reaction appears purposely slowed. He was waiting for Rocky to charge in, but the Rock never knocked at the door. Out at the center of the ring again, Rocky Marciano is bobbing up and down on those powerful legs. Marciano moving in, again throws a left to the body, right to the heart. Jeffries goes to the clinch. Jeffries stunned the boxing world with his quick rise as a challenger. In 2 years, he had licked such greats as Tom Sharkey, Joe Choinsky, Gus Rowland, all the great spoilers of their time. Out at ring center now on the break. Jeffries rips a solid left and right to the head of Rocky. Rocky retreats without firing a shot. Jeffries moves after him. Rocky doesn't expect it. Jeffries belts Rocky hard again on the mouth. Rocky has just gotten a full spoon of Jeffries' very tough to take medicine. And Rocky goes into Jeffries to take an immediate rest on the clinch. Jeffries, who is very great at timing, pulls a beautiful coup against the Rock from Brockton, Massachusetts. Out at the center of the ring once more, this is Guy LeBeau with Murray Warner reporting the all-time heavyweight tournament. Rocky remembers that Ezra Charles and Joe Walcott could fly from nowhere and get you off your game. He'll have to watch Mr. Jeffries. Here's Rocky feinting his left again. Rocky drives a straight right to the mouth of Jeffries. A good shot. Jeffries catches him coming in and fires a hard left to the body. A right high on the chest. Rocky is punishing Jeffries. Massive hands in close. Rocky pounds the body at short range. Jeffries drops a shot at the ribs. Rocky rams the arms of Jeffries again. And here is a cyclone pummeling the body of Big Jim as Rocky goes and goes and goes. Jeffries is just standing there with his shoulders back to a neutral corner. Jeffries taking the shots on the arms, calmly measuring the Rock, and Rocky is still bleeding from the nose. Now Jeffries drives a good right to the mouth. Jeffries hooks a left to the head. Jeffries slows the Rock down with a good hard shot to the head. Rocky raises the guns now, hooks a left to the head, and here is a clinch right in Jeffries' corner. A clinch right in Jeffries' corner with Ruby Goldstein trying to get between them. And believe me, he'll get his pants pressed that way yet. Now he has them out to the center of the ring, separates them. There's the bell.
Round 4 was fairly even, with both men landing solidly and well. You can tell those head punches are hard by the hair standing straight up when they land. Here's Guy.
Marciano has his nose clean looking now as he comes out for round 5, but it's Jeffries getting off first. Jeffries tags his mouth hard. Rocky bobs and weaves. Jeffries whacks the head and scores, and Rocky wants a clinch immediately. This battle is being staged under Miami rules, the 10-point must system. You use the usual considerations first: clean, hard-hitting, knockdown, ring generalship, defense, and so on. But remember, there is consideration for adjustment to meet a particular opponent. Think about Jeffries there. Rocky Marciano and Jim Jeffries right before me at ring center. Jeffries more than 4 inches taller. He is wider and heavier. Here is Jeffries launching a good left to the body of Marciano, but the Rock retaliates with a right and left to the head. Not far. Jeffries is moving off to his left. There's a pause. Jeffries rocking back and forth on that big right leg. Rocky moves in on him. Rocky is wild with the left. Jeffries puts the left hand right to the body, and Rocky takes a couple of steps out of range. Anywhere near those big branches of Jim Jeffries, and the Rock has to come under fire. Here's Rocky running back at Jeffries, ripping left and right to the midsection as he runs right up his chest. And Jeffries is caught without a counter and moves wisely to a clinch. Man, these guys hit like mules. Ruby Goldstein off to the clinch now at a neutral corner and has them apart. Jeffries is aptly named the Boilermaker, they calls him. Out at ring center, standing straight up. Jeffries puts a hard jab to Marciano's mouth. The Rock drives right and left to the body and hard. Jeffries may not be responding, and he isn't tipping to any pain, but he has to be feeling those shots now or later. They circle the ring at ring center. Jeffries invariably moving to the left when not being maneuvered. That's a pattern and a habit. But he has facility in any direction. Jeffries is a magnificent heavyweight. Nat Fleischer says second best of all time. Rocky steps to his left, cocks the right as if to throw, then decides to hook to the head, but is short. Jeffries misses over the head. Rocky drives a left to the body, and Jeffries moves directly into range off the right flank, but Jim cannot fire back. He did try, but pulled back. Rocky is off now. Here's Rocky with a solid right to the midsection. A good left hook to the ribs, and Jeffries really has to pinpoint the shot. With Rocky so low, he is practically sitting on the canvas. Jeffries charges after the rock. Marciano puts left and right to the body, and Jeffries puts a left to the midsection, a left to the head of Marciano as they tie each other up. Honors about even. Someone, I think, will move away in front if he can dope something out or catch his opponent off guard. This is a very interesting fight and strange, but the two mighty warlords have turned on the brain cells. Out at ring center, Rocky leaps out to put a left and right to the head of Jeffries, and Jim is back strong with good, hard shots at the body. There's the bell.
Things still even. These men are well on their way to pounding each other into pulp. Neither gives an inch. They just belt away. And here's Guy LeBeau.
Jim Jeffries moves forward in a modest crouch. Rocky misses a left. Jeffries fires a right. They wrangle into a clinch, but Rocky keeps pounding the ribs with a right hand, and now they are tied up. Marciano is the most diminutive heavyweight champion since Tommy Burns, who reigned over the field for about a couple of years when Jack Johnson knocked him out. Tommy was only 5'7", weighed 175. Now on the break at the center of the ring, Jeffries again is first to land. There's a good left jab to the head by Jim. Jeffries has power to hurt you even if he misses. Marciano misses a right to the body but comes charging in on Jeffries and drives a left to the midsection of Jim. Jim is waiting. Jeffries sends a left to the body, a right under the heart of Marciano, and they go into a clinch. It's Marciano who asked for it. Here's Ruby Goldstein to break them up. Many celebrities here tonight. Edie Adams, Johnny Desmond, Mimi Hines, Phil Ford, who replaced the stars in Funny Girl on Broadway and did so well. Now out at the center of the ring, Marciano fires a quick left and right to the head. Jeffries misses a left to the head, and Marciano is quickly away. Marciano definitely is the more agile of the two, but Jeffries has plenty of speed in there for a man of his size. On the far side of the ring, Jeffries with hand extended in jab position, making his face more difficult to hit, now goes into a crouch. Marciano, as if catapulting, leaps at Jeffries and fires a hard left and right at the body, and immediately goes into a clinch with Jeffries once more. Marciano looks so tiny in Jim's arms at times, it strikes you as either funny or you really start to worry for Marciano. Goldstein separates them. Here's Jeffries with his back toward the ropes now. He seems to be drawing Marciano in. Jeffries waves a left in front of Marciano's head, now deeply crouched and out of range. But now Marciano moves forward, leaps up to put a light hook to the head of Jeffries, but doesn't get out of range in time, and Jeffries jams a hard left and right to the body of the Rock. Marciano has to retreat and lick his wounds. The blows were beautifully zeroed in, and they hurt Marciano. A minute remaining in a speedy round 6. Jeffries moves forward, ready to brawl. Marciano hooks to the head, moves out, bobbing and weaving on his hips, and very, very low. Jeffries puts a hard left jab to the head. Marciano is now brawling with the big man, and here they go. Here's Marciano firing a hard left to the body, taking a powerful shot under the heart. He races back into Jeffries, who's in a semi-crouch. Marciano hooks twice to the head before Jeff is able to tie him up. Here's Goldstein rushing to the traffic jam. Only seconds remain. They break. Marciano pushes in again. Here, two more light left hooks to the head. Jeffries returns his own right to the head. Marciano crowds Jim, brings up a left hook to the head, a right to the jaw. Marciano appears to be able to throw faster as he whips another left to the head. He's not getting power into all of the blows, but he is getting them there. And now they clinch again right over this microphone, and Ruby Goldstein returns. There's the bell.
If either fighter has built up an advantage to this point, I can't see it. But this is the kind of fierce sixer we expected to see. Here's Guy.
Okay, Murray, like two giant armies facing each other and respecting each other's powers. It appears these two men hesitate to throw everything at once. Marciano opens up fast, but he opens up hard. Jeffries' adjustment to the left jab has been from the semi-crouch, but Jeffries' chin is within target range early, and Marciano lands his first two blockbusters, and they hurt. Here's a powerful straight right and left hook to the head by Marciano, but Jeffries comes back, and Jeffries explodes a left to the body of the Rock. Marciano takes it, seems to shudder, but it does not still the attack, and here's Rock keeping up the rhythm, again firing at Jeffries' chin, and he powers a hard left hook besides. Jeffries then blocks a solid right to the face, and Jeffries goes into a clinch to tie Marciano up. Marciano appears to be getting the range now, and though he still takes blows as he comes in, he is getting there with greater force. 1 minute gone here in round 7. The two men are separated at the center of the ring. Jeffries puts a hard jab to the mouth, another stinger to the face, and Marciano is stung back on his heels. Marciano wildly misses a left to the body. Jeffries comes smashing in with his own left to the chest, and these guys are really warming up to the business. Here is a clinch once again right over this microphone. Marciano is a favorite in this tournament, and by the way, he is bleeding again. I can see him clearly, and this time it's an eye, the left eye. It must have come off one of the two early left jabs. They were bolts of lightning. Now, on the break, Marciano bowls forward. There's a straight right to the mouth of Jim Jeffries, but Jeffries rams the body again. Not too hard, and again, Marciano's trick is to get inside with the shot and tie his man up. And Jeffries will simply have to do some moving when he sees Marciano coming at him. And although Jeffries has fine ring skill, the temptation for this brawler to meet Marciano on a collision course must be overwhelming. Here the men are separated again. Jeffries from his crouch. Here delivers a good left jab to the mouth again. Marciano counters with a blistering hook back to the head of Jim Jeffries. Jeffries returns a soft right to the head of Marciano. Marciano collides with Jim, and here's a good grappling match just above me, a darn good one. Marciano punishing the head and arms with a free left hand. Jeffries working on the body of Marciano, and it's overtime for both of these guys because it's a clinch. If Jeffries is to be hurt anywhere, the records tell us, it's got to be at the head because that body of his is made of granite. Marciano also can take solid punishment at the body. These two are of the strongest, best conditioned types the business has ever known. On the break, Jeffries moving to his left with slick ability, jams a hard left to the head. Marciano taking a breath, hooks to the chin and the mouth. Jeffries misses a left over the head. Seconds remaining, there's the bell.
That eye cut of Marciano's is now under control, but this match is so close that at this point it's things like that that might determine the outcome. Here's Guy LeBeau.
Both men have begun to trim up the heavy artillery, and the bleacher fans are going to be able to hear the detonating all the way back there. Here is Marciano skimming across the ring. Marciano ripping a solid left to the chin of Jim Jeffries. Jeffries misses over the head of the rock. Marciano crowds. Jeffries rips another good, solid hook to the chin. Again, Jeffries misses a left over the head as Marciano, down on his haunches, is an impossible target, really, for this giant who stands close to 6'3". Here's Marciano bobbing and weaving, moving to the right and then left, bobbing and weaving again. Jeffries tiring of the pursuit. His left hand trying to find Marciano, and Jeff retreats. Jim has the quandary of crouching to be able to get to Marciano's vital points, but he's got to be mindful of Marciano's leaping, lunging shots, all carrying dynamite. Jeffries has to take the tar out of the smaller man, but Jeffries stays in the crouch anyway. Marciano comes sailing in again. Here's a straight right to the mouth by Marciano, and Jeffries rips a vicious left hand right to the body. Jeffries backs off, now comes back. Jeffries fires a straight right under the heart of the rock. Marciano puts a right to the chin, left to the jaw. Now they are brawling. Now they are toe-to-toe. Marciano ducking the headshots, and Jeffries gets a good, strong right to the body. Marciano finds the range on a powerful shot to the jaw. Marciano hooks a good left to the chin. Jeffries misses the head again. Jeffries lunges down at Marciano, takes a left to the jaw. A hard shot, but he has rammed home a solid right to the body, and Marciano's attack is brought to a swift halt. Man, that really was no man's land out there for a time. It really was. A little over a minute left to go in this great round. In the center of the ring, referee Ruby Goldstein brings them forward once more. Jim Jeffries standing straight up now. He doesn't want that chin or jaw engaged again for the present. Jeffries circles with Marciano, keeping that left churning. The left churning. Marciano bobs and weaves. His eyes, as I can see clearly, are shifting around as part of a fake. Here glancing at Jeffries, then looking vaguely at his body. Jeffries circling with Marciano, still churning that left hand, is Mr. Jeffries, and Marciano now leaps to the jaw. Marciano lands a solid straight right and carries right into the hands of Jim, who can't throw but does tie him up. Jeffries backs to the ropes above the microphone. Marciano keeps roughing the body in close. Marciano drives a left hook to the chin, and Marciano clearly has outpointed Jim Jeffries this round. About 15 seconds left to go here with a jam-packed Miami Convention Hall audience on a beautiful evening in the sun and fun capital of the world. Marciano takes a hard hook to the mouth, but drives left and right to the body. Referee Ruby Goldstein moving on these two as they move to a clinch. There's the bell.
A solid, decisive round at last, and Marciano racked it up in round 8, jolting Jeffries and landing with the heavier guns. Here's Guy.
Jim Jeffries, the Boilermaker, and Rocky Marciano, the Brockton blockbuster in the semifinal of the all-time heavyweight tournament. Rocky comes busting across the ring. Jeffries is at jab position, and Jeffries is punctured the body with a solid left and right. The Rock apparently wants to brawl before Jim can even get wound up. Jeffries hammers a good left to the mouth. Rocky moves back, feints, is in again on Jeffries, who moves back a step. Now Jeffries strikes Rocky's jaw. Jeffries moves forward. Jeffries hammers another shot there. But Rocky has the body of Jim Jeffries and fires a hard right under the heart, a good left to the stomach of Jeffries. Rocky tries a body shot again, this time from a deep crouch. Jeffries blocks at the hand. Rocky wings the arms with a free right as Jeffries ties Marciano up at the left alley. And the Rock has been punishing Jeffries' arms. They show splotches of red, and I mean really red. Marciano is hitting the arms now whenever he can. Jeffries, tiring at the arms and hands, could give Marciano a step lead. Jeff is having trouble anyway, reciting his targets because of Marciano's size. At the center of the ring once more. Marciano bobbing and weaving, and Jeffries finds the range. He rams him hard at the mouth with a fine left hand, but Marciano comes screaming at Jeffries again, and his charge just doesn't budge the big man, who, like Jack Johnson, merely rocks back on his pivot leg, the right one, and catches Marciano to hold on, and there is the clinch. Jim Jeffries, you know, has the ability to hold his pivot leg on a spot like a basketball player and to move, weave, and rock back and forth in a very good defensive ploy. Ruby Goldstein gets them apart again at the center of the ring. Marciano this time about 2 good strides away. Makes Jeffries short with a left. Rocky drives in on Jeffries again. Jeffries steps aside and rips a pretty left to Rocky's face. A pretty left to his face. And the Rock is stabbed by that one good, and I think he's got the nose mashed again. Yep. He has it bleeding again. Jeffries misses a left over the head, lowers himself a little bit, and fires a left to Rocky's midsection. Rocky springs back to the chin after wiping blood from the nose, lands a left hook lightly, but Jeffries draws back, and quickly enough, and the Rock does not come through. Now the Rock backs off a little bit, and here he tosses a hard, good shot on the button. Jeffries explodes, though, a hard, straight right to the body, and Rocky has to seek the comfort of a clinch quickly. How strong is Jeffries? One story with proof out of his training camp is he shot a grizzly bear, hundreds of pounds it weighed. He carried it back on his shoulder, back to camp, a distance of several miles. Out at ring center again, Rocky from his weave and crouch rams a solid shot to the body. Jeffries a light left to the head. Rocky sends a good straight right under the heart. Jeffries a right and left to the body. Rocky rips a straight right to the head where Jeffries doesn't like it. He didn't like that one. The bell.
If the fans never see another punch thrown, they've had a lifetime of action here in the first 9 rounds. Marciano's nose cut, now stop bleeding. Here's Guy.
Okay, Maury Warner, this is round 10 of a semifinal in the all-time heavyweight tournament. Jim Jeffries and Rocky Marciano. Jeffries and Marciano breaking quickly out of their respective stalls. Jeffries misses a left to the head as Rocky goes immediately to the very, very deep crouch. Jeffries dances off to the left, sets himself to the crouch. Now is forward on Marciano, and Jeffries cuts a good left to Marciano's body. How he ever got that in, I'll never know. He really must have telescopic sights. But the Rock clips him with a good left and right to the head. Jeffries misses a left as Rocky now weaves and waddles away. Each man has struck often with devastating power. They have rocked each other, but I think punching at a little less efficiency to meet the size differences and the style differences of the other. Here's Rocky again, moving into action, springing up at Big Jim, putting left and right to the mouth, but as he rises, Jeff slaughters him at the body with a hard series of lefts and rights under the heart, and Rocky has to go in close. Rocky keeps a hand free, wrestling Jim's big left mitt, puts several rights to the ribs, wails the arms. Jeffries is whacking Marciano at the back, and now they are in a tight clinch. Marciano had to have it for the respite. These two are most exemplary athletes, and no better reflections of the well-disciplined lives and careers can be found. Goldstein is here to separate the man. Rocky does not let Jeffries get set at the break. There's his leap and drive to the jaw with a straight right. Rocky nudges Jeffries back to the ropes and again ties him up. As they say in the business, he simply won't let the big man get off. At ring center again, Rocky Marciano and Jim Jeffries. Ruby Goldstein has them in tow. Marciano bobbing and weaving, faking with his head, his guard held high up at the face using both hands. He, man, is a difficult target for Jeffries. Jim is straight up, moving nimbly, and now takes charge of the footwork, dancing very neatly to his left. And a lot of people here didn't realize he could go that swiftly. Rocky waddles with him. Jeffries misses a left over the head, fires a straight right to the body. Rocky comes up underneath with left and right to the mouth, and Jeffries takes the clinch. Rocky's most damaging punch has been a looping right, but he cannot take the room or the time that the loop requires to land on Jeffries. He's got the short in his range and the time he throws it. On the break, Rocky moves out the ring center. Jeffries shuffles forward, the left held out, crooked at the elbow. Rocky hooks hard to the head. Jeffries backs up instead of being bulled, though. He finds time to fire a gorgeous shot to the body. Here's Jeff with another blast to the midsection. Rocky is now in close, seconds remaining. Rocky drives a solid right to the jaw. A good hook to the head. They land perfectly, but they simply do not jar the giant. Jeffries returns a light shot to the head. Rocky times it beautiful left and right to the mouth. Jeffries misses, 2 hands over the head, and there's the bell.
Again, Marciano in round 10 took the measure of Jeffries, simply out-punching him. Jeffries' arms have taken a tremendous beating. Here's Guy LeBeau.
Ladies and gentlemen, we do hope that you're enjoying this great match. This is round 11 of the computerized all-time heavyweight tournament between Jim Jeffries, the Boilermaker, and Rocky Marciano. Neither man has been able to step ahead of the other yet. Jeffries beats Marciano to the first punch here, and now it's a light left to the head. Marciano returns a left and right to the head in retaliation. Jeffries rips a hard left to the chin. Jeffries went a couple of rounds without landing too heavily at the head. Marciano moves into a clinch. The action between these two men has been indexed in short flurries mostly. Marciano has sought the clinch since his shots must be quickly timed. He must take cover from the heavy artillery overhead. Marciano, starting as a Dogwood fighter, was refined by Charlie Goldman, one of the true great trainers of the business, who taught him the skill of counterpunching. Out at the center of the ring again, Jeffries is first. Jeffries drives a hard left to the head, another left to the head by Jeffries. Marciano, though, comes sailing in. Marciano hooking a left to the chin, a right to the jaw. Jeffries with a brutal uppercut to the chin. It was a brute of a blow, and it jars Marciano right down to the roots. This is the first time, without question, that one of these giants has flown sails of disaster. Sails of disaster, and apparently Marciano, on orders from the corner, goes to the immediate clinch. Jeffries tries to back off. He senses an advantage. He's trying to wrestle his hands free of Marciano, and he allows himself to be pushed to the ropes, and there They do clinch. Referee Ruby Goldstein will be moving them out to the center of the ring. Marciano, one of the favorites of the tournament. Jeffries is one of the great stars of all time in the heavyweight division. Marciano in close with his strength returning now. Drives a good hook to the chin, a right to the body, which Jeffries catches on an arm. And Marciano keeps whacking at the arm, and now they are in a clinch. Jeffries had driven a solid mark on his point total by the jarring uppercut to the chin of Marciano. The intent was to bring Rocky's head into range for a following blow, but Marciano foiled all that with fine ring generalship. At ring center now, with less than a minute left to go, Jeffries, whose best punch is to the body, again is out hunting the head. Marciano's body is so low, it's simply subterranean. They circle at the center of the ring. Marciano bobbing and weaving. He was jolted by the uppercut. He's okay now. Marciano goes driving at Jeffries. Jeffries is partially covered, but takes a left and right to the head. Marciano bowls him to the ropes, and he has the clinch now with both hands solidly tied up. Jeffries has KO'd 16 men. He was KO'd only once. Marciano has KO'd 43 in an undefeated record of 49 victories. On the break, Marciano drives a straight right to the mouth. Jeffries has a good shot at the body and delivers same. Marciano with Jeffries in his sights, whips left and right to the head. Great shots. And Jeffries drives another right to the body, a left hook to the body, and there's the bell.
Where these two get the stamina and strength, mortal men will never know. They've both been battered almost beyond recognition. Here's the bell and Guy LeBeau.
Okay, Murray, an incredible match here, no doubt about that, between Jim Jeffries and Rocky Marciano, with neither man able to establish clear superiority. As one fella gets a problem solved, he falls prey to another, and this has been the misfortune of both. Swiftly, here's Jeffries popping a strong left to the head of Marciano. Marciano disciplines himself. He was going to crash in for the well-known counter, but he noticed that Jeffries had sprung back, set himself for the rush, so Marciano held back the throttle, and Jeffries rushes him into a clinch. I told you that Jeffries had been using the technique of hitting, taking a step back, anticipating Marciano's explosion forward, and catching Rocky coming in with good shots. But Marciano's corner has undoubtedly diagnosed this already, and correctly. Now out at the center of the ring, broken by Ruby Goldstein. Marciano circles. Marciano raises and lowers the trunk, bobs and weaves. Jeffries misses a couple of left stabs at the head. Rocky's nose looks better. It was bleeding badly for several rounds. Jim Jeffries muffs a left hook intended for the head. Marciano has made no offensive move yet. He may have been driven into a state of caution by the torrid uppercut that Jeffries plastered him with in the previous round. Marciano now springing, hooks a left at the head. Jeffries a half step backward, catches the blow beautifully, counters a left to the head in turn. Marciano still on the move, takes only half the power, and Marciano jams a solid left to the body in return. Marciano ties Jeffries up at the arms, pulls a hand free, trying to get to the ribs to continue that futile effort of hurting Jeffries at the midsection. Nothing can, not even the mule kicking him directly there. Now they're in a clinch once more, and here is Ruby Goldstein. Many celebrities here in the jam-packed Miami Convention Hall. There is Alan Sherman, the great comic. There is Al Downing, the great left-hander of the New York Yankees. Now they're separated out at the center of the ring. What a mob here. Jeffries' arms are not moving with the speed earlier in the round and fight. As we mentioned, for 2 rounds he failed to deliver more than one hard blow to the head or so. Here's Marciano screaming in again, a left pounder to the heart, and his right blasts the midsection of Jeffries. Jeffries in turn misses a left and right over the head. He was not set too well, and Jim is getting no power at all as he backs off now and delivers a left to the body of Marciano, which lands and scores. Marciano in retaliation drives a straight right to the head. It lands on Jeffries' forearm. Marciano weaving to the right, and Jeffries' right goes whooshing over his head. Both men are known as iron-handed, but Marciano is deadly at punishing the muscles that bring the hands into play. Back in action again, Jim Jeffries misses a left to the head. Jeffries misses another left. Jeffries lands a straight right to the body, modest power only. Marciano puts left and right hook to the head, and they battle each other, hammering each other like blacksmiths at the bell.
The rate of leather throwing eased off a little in the last round. I believe both men must be growing arm-weary. Here's Guy.
Thank you, Murray Warren. Now, this is round 13, Jim Jeffries and Rocky Marciano. If either one of these strong tree trunks is to fall, it will be on a lucky shot variety, I'm thinking, or because of some accumulated effect not discernible to the rest of us mortals. Marciano races out at a mile a minute and climbs right up the body of Jeffries before Jim can get set. Marciano cuts him with a solid left and right hook to the head, and Jeffries is pushed back all the way back. Marciano, like off his springboard, racks the head again with left and right. The blows are at full power. Marciano rams another left to the head, and Jeffries simply has to tie his man up if he is to weather the next few moments. That really was a rally. Jeffries can be hurt at the head. Nobody knows that better than Jim. But to finish him off, as only one man did in his career, he must somehow diminish his fuel supply. So Rocky has to get him out of gas as well. Now they're separated in the center of the ring. Remember that Jeffries' only loss came when he fought the immortal Jack Johnson after a 5-year retirement. His body could not be reconditioned sufficiently. Here they are out in the center of the ring. The crowd is buzzing. Marciano's dynamic burst has set a new tempo. Jeffries puts a hard jab to the face. Marciano's eye is cut. Just with that one stabbing left hand. What an arm that is. Marciano comes back to the fray. Marciano drives a solid right to the jaw, and again, Jeffries is stung and hard. He tries to counter at the body, but Marciano forces him into retreat with a straight right at the heart from a deep crouch. Marciano explodes a left to the chin. Jeffries gets a good 1-2 combination to the head, which carries good weight and power to Marciano, but Marciano's still coming, jams on the brakes for a second, and then from the deep crouch, fires a powerful right under the heart. A blast at the heart with both hands in rapid sequence, and into the clinch he goes. Marciano has cut at an eye, I can see that. But Marciano, as if from a written battle plan, has gripped Jeffries' head with surprise and fury, and then cut his supply line with a well-directed attack at the body, beautifully executed by a man not given much credit for ring generalship. Out at ring center again, referee Ruby Goldstein, who has done a magnificent job with these great heavyweights, gives them the go button, and Marciano ducks away immediately from a left jab thrown hard at the head. Marciano, bleeding, makes Jeffries miss a left. Jeffries is conscious of the fact, very conscious, that he must make a considerable showing here to gain his part of the round. Both of these men have been hurt. Is Jeffries very, very arm-weary? That may be a consideration as we move to the final rounds. Marciano bobs and weaves, puts a left to the head. Jeffries thunders across a vicious left and right to the jaw, and once again, Rock reacts as if a building fell right on him. But Marciano, who never runs out of gas, is coming right back. Here he is, pounding the body with dynamite blasts off both hands. Rocky throwing with abandon now. Jeffries trying to catch them. Jeffries trying to make a miss, but Rocky lands left and right to the head, left and right to the body at the bell.
Charlie Goldman has that cut eye of Marciano stopped again, but we can guess Jim Jeffries will be shooting for the eye and nose this round. Here's Guy.
Jim Jeffries and Rocky Marciano are 2 rounds away from determining who will move to the finals and a shot at the title. This battle has had no flukes, no surprises, just 2 rock-bound battlers at war. Rocky races across the ring again at Jeffries, whose face, believe me, is a pulp. Rocky dynamites a solid left to the head. Jeffries steps away, wanting to catch the rock coming in, but can't get set quickly enough. And for the second consecutive time, Rocky has the field. Here is a wicked left and right to the head by Rocky, who moves back, and Jeffries, stung, misses wearily over Rocky's head, that close to the canvas. Rocky comes back. Rocky blasts the body with his left, fires a straight right to the jaw, as Jeffries, not expecting, had gone to the right body counter. But Jeffries' body blow is a good one, and Rocky does go to the clinch. Jeffries has missed the head, though, when it counts. The arms are not responding to his swishers, that's for sure. Now at the break, Rocky says Jeffries moving around, moving back and forth. Rocky bobs and weaves. Jeffries misses a jab, misses a left over the head, misses a straight right, and here comes Rocky. Rocky wings him from out of a crouch hard with a left and right to the chin. Jeffries looks weakened. Jeffries looks surprised. Jeffries backs into a neutral corner. Jeffries is taking a left and right to the mouth, a left and right to the jaw by Rocky, and Jeffries has gone down. 2, 3, 4, 5. He'll be all right. He is up. 9. He makes it at the count of 9. Just made it at the count of 9. A series of blasts off the 2 dynamite arms of Rocky Marciano. And now they're wiping off the gloves. of Jim Jeffries, and what a surprise and a shock this has been to everybody here, perhaps to the Rock as well. But now out at the center of the ring, Rocky Marciano has his intelligence report. Jeffries' steam at the arms is gone, and he can be knocked down. Here's the Rock making his move. Here's the Rock suddenly whipping a straight right to the jaw. Jeffries goes reeling back. Rocky pounds his arm. Rocky sends another straight right to the head. A solid hook to the jaw. Jeffries is trying to find the Rock's head. He misses the right. He puts a little left to the head, futilely, really. The Rock is up at the chin now with two wicked shots. Here is a brutal right to the mouth of Jim Jeffries. His mouthpiece flies out. He is whirring up the attack and weakening, trying to grab the Rock. Jeffries is on the ropes. He is on the ropes, and this is a murderous rally by Marciano. Jeffries cannot get the arms moving swiftly enough. Rocky is now in full fury, unmindful of anything, and is at full height and strength. Jeffries cornered. Jeffries helpless. Rocky is wringing the chin, the face, the jaw. Jeffries now offering no comeback at all. Jeffries is out on his feet. The Rock plants left and right to the mouth, another left to the face. He can't knock him down, but he is out on his feet. And this fight is over. Ruby Goldstein, coming between Marciano and Jeffries, has stopped the fight. It is over. Pandemonium here at Convention Hall in Miami. In a test of brute power, Rocky brought a few extra tricks to battle, and Jeffries, I think, could not take the combined weariness at the arms resulting from the pounding he got and the futile firing he had to do with Rocky in the deep crouch and being otherwise a very small, tiny target. And finally, a small lapse, and Rocky had him. A TKO, Rocky over Jim Jeffries. Come in, Murray Ward.
The only way to comment on this fight at this point is to say that it was like seeing one large dynamite blast finally following a series of smaller explosions. The unbelievable fury of Rocky's attack just before Goldstein stopped the fight. Jeffries was badly hurt and barely managed to get back on his feet. Marciano swarmed all over him, slamming punch after punch to his defenseless head. A finish very much like his smashing defeat of Max Baer in the quarterfinal round of this tournament. Jeffries, after sharing punch for punch with Marciano for 13 rounds, just couldn't make it all the way. Now, Paul Berman is in the ring. Let's join him for the official announcement.
Ladies and gentlemen, referee Rocky Goldstein stopping this fight in 2 minutes, 40 seconds of the 14th round. The winner by a TKO, the Boston blockbuster, Rocky Marciano.
Well, that's it, everyone. The official result, Rocky Marciano by a TKO. And shades of Aunt Martha's favorite tanning needle. Can you imagine what a brawl we'll have next week?
Well, we'll be back in a minute to talk about that and summarize the action tonight. Limp is the only word that will describe the feelings of the spectators here tonight to this fantastic battle. The NCR computer simply must have flipped a circuit breaker to turn out this gem, guy.
You know, the closest thing I can remember to this kind of action was a long time ago. In fact, as far back as last week's Lewis Dempsey bout. And, of course, the real-life fights between guys like Tony Zale and Rocky Graziano. They were pretty wild, too. But now, let's quickly summarize tonight's action.
According to the NCR 315 computer, we had a draw till the beginning of the 8th round. Rounds 1 through 7 were just as even as they could be. Both men landing with dynamite, but neither one yielding an inch. And then in the 8th, Marciano picked up a slight edge, landing with the heavier and more frequent shots. Although the Rock's nose cut again in the 9th, the round scored even.
Marciano took the 10th round, too, as he just out-punched the Boilermaker. But the 11th again was even, both fighters showing the effects of the beatings. The 12th reflected their weariness, and the round was even. Now, in the even 13th, Marciano's eye was opened again. But this was offset by the heavy punching of the Rock, keeping the round even. And then, in the 14th, Marciano simply exploded. And after decking Jeffries, he tore into the tiring and hurt Boilermaker, bouncing hard rights and lefts off the head. And he had Jeffries helpless, tangled in the ropes, when referee Ruby Goldstein stepped between them and said, "That's all." Frankly, I believe had Goldstein not stopped the action, Jeffries was taking the kind of beating that could have resulted in serious injury. His hands were down at his side, one draped over the rope, preventing him from falling, and Marciano was standing off, wailing away with both hands to the head, and he really was on range. He probably landed about 12 or 14 of those head shots, with Jeffries making no attempt to counter or to defend himself before Ruby acted.
Well, that's the way it went tonight, Guy. And these two semifinals have been something else again, haven't they? And next week's match promises more of the same, because the Brockton blockbuster, Rocky Marciano, meets the Manasseh Mauler in the computerized all-time heavyweight championship fight, with the winner to receive our $10,000 gold and diamond heavyweight championship belt made for us by Regal Crest Jewelry of Miami. Here we are, ready to go into this fight that all these weeks of boxing have led up to.
Right, Rocky Marciano and Jack Dempsey, Mauler and the blockbuster. Murray, there's no doubt that the Joe Louis-Jack Dempsey fight is one that people who follow boxing were really looking forward to. But I don't think Joe Louis would mind if we talked to him about this one.
Yeah, we asked Joe to pick one fight, one that he'd like to see from all the heavyweights who ever lived. And listen to what he said.
Well, I would like to match Marciano and Dempsey together. That at least you know nobody would have backed up.
We asked him how it would go.
Yeah, if Dempsey didn't cut Marciano would have a good chance.
This is the kind of fight, that gets boxing people almost too excited to talk. We tried to talk with Chris Tundee, who promotes fights about it.
Oh, boy, that's another one, huh? That's another one. I don't know. I'd have to pick Jack Dempsey over Rocky Marciano.
What kind of fight do you think it would be?
It would be a Pier 6 brawl.
With both men throwing bombs?
Both men throwing bombs and both men being down. You're really picking some tips out, believe me. I don't know what to tell you. I don't know what to tell you.
Well, while Chris calms down a little bit, we asked his brother Angelo about next week's fight. Marciano or Dempsey, Angelo?
Beautiful. This would be a war. This would be bang, bang, bang.
You'd like to promote that one, wouldn't you?
Oh, I'd love to promote that one any place. Marciano and Dempsey has got to be the end of the greatest club fights of all time, because neither one is any kind of a boxer. Both can punch like the devil. Both have to get in close to punch, although Dempsey is a bigger man than Marciano, height-wise, I'm pretty sure. I think that tough fight, decision, possibility of a TKO, late rounds, Marciano winner.
Well, Angelo picks Marciano. But The Rock has really had some rough fights in this tournament, and that nose has really been worked over. Gene Tunney cut him in the first round of the tourney. Max Baer busted open his nose in the quarterfinals, and Jim Jeffries had him bleeding in the fight tonight. Now, the score, Rocky has won 2 TKOs and a decision thus far.
Nat Fleischer of Ring Magazine gave us his choice on the fight next week.
I'd pick Jack Dempsey to win that fight. Rocky Marciano was a fighter who possessed tremendous hitting power, but his hitting power was no greater than that of Jack Dempsey. As a matter of fact, I think that Jack Dempsey had as good hitting power as anybody in the boxing game in the last 50 years. But in addition to his hitting power, Jack Dempsey also was a very courageous fighter. He could take a heavy wallop, and in addition to all that, he was a man who possessed quite a bit of ring science, which Marciano did not have.
Now, here's Hank Kaplan of the Veterans Boxers Association, who made so much of his valuable research available to us, and we're so appreciative. Hank, how do you think this match we've all been waiting for, Rocky Marciano and Jack Dempsey, is going to come out?
This has to be the greatest war of all times. Rocky Marciano and Dempsey can both take the hardest kind of a blow. They're both great punchers. What can you say in a fight like this except that the man who gets there the furthest with the mostest is going to win? I think that Jack Dempsey's superior ability to throw the short punch and possibly a greater ring-wise ability will eventually be the telling factor in this fight. I believe this will be the first knockout in Marciano's career.
We'll be back in just a minute with Rocky himself to comment on the fight. Rocky certainly had a great fight with Jim Jeffries tonight.
Now he's on his way to the biggest fight of all, next week's 15-round bout with Jack Dempsey for all the marbles. The all-time heavyweight championship and that $10,000 belt from Regal Crest.
Jack Dempsey was a real idol of mine. As a boy, he was the man. I used to just enjoy being called Dempsey. This is my first nickname. All of the stories I ever heard about Dempsey were just fantastic. I wouldn't dare to talk to an old-timer about this type of a fight. I'm sure that the people of his era believed him to be the greatest. I don't think the fight would have gone the limit. It would have had to be a knockout.
I think he'd knock you down.
I think he could knock me down, yes.
You could knock him down?
Yes, I do. Yes, I think I could have knocked Jack down, and I know that if he hit me right, he could have knocked me down.
Would you say Dempsey had any weakness at all?
Jack, they tell me, would get tired in the middle stages of a fight. This is his one weakness that I have recalled from some of the old critics, the old-timers that actually saw Jack Dempsey, that he would get tired and he would take a breather in the middle rounds. And I have been known really never to take a breather and to fight 3 minutes of each round. I think that perhaps I might have had an edge in the middle rounds with Jack Dempsey.
Murray, here comes Jack Kearns Jr., who's probably been exposed to as many stories and as much background on Dempsey as anybody around today. Jack, Marciano, and Dempsey.
I think that would be World War III. I really do. I think that would be a fight, a real great fight. I really, in fact, I can't say who could win.
Somebody going to get knocked out?
Yes. Yes and no. It could go 15 rounds, and they'd both need 6 months of recuperation in a hospital. Because I think both of them would wear one another down proportionately and equally as they went. I think Jack was the harder puncher. I think he took as good a punch as anybody, if not better. But Rocky also took a great punch. Rocky, of course, fought 15-round fights, and Jack always knocked everybody out early and didn't have to go 15 rounds. But Jack had a pretty good trainer, and he'd have had him in shape for this fight. All things equal, it would have been a fight that, as I said, World War III, there would have been nothing to compare to it. It would have been a war. I don't think Marciano, I haven't picked Dempsey, really. I can't, it would be the type of fight that would be such a close fight that if it went to a decision, it would be hard to say who would win. This is my picture of the fight. If you gave them 24-ounce gloves and put buckets on their feet, it would still be a war and a great fight, no matter what happened. I think that Rocky would throw more punches, but he would have a tough target in Jack. They both were straight-ahead type fighters, but Rocky would be winging punches, and Dempsey would be bobbing and weaving and hooking all the time. Hook to the body, hook to the head, left hook, and then right hand to the body.
A while ago you saw about Marciano hitting on the kneecap. In reading some of the accounts of Jack Dempsey's fights, of course, he really hit him in the back of the head, he hit him on the shoulder, he hit him in the he hit any part of the
Jack
body.
Jack was liable to hit you on the bottom of the shoe if it was, if it was pointing at him. He's the type like Marciano. Jack wasn't really a dirty fighter. You know, in boxing, when he started boxing, there were not the advanced rules that we have today under the Marquis of Queensberry. In those days, you fought to win.
We'll be back in just a minute with tonight's wrap-up.